BBB, beginners business bloopers. Today, I bring to you No Show. Hope you enjoy the show. No call, no show. Or how about the saying, deposit, or how about the saying, we reserve the right to not service you. These are things that often there's placed in most small business. And a lot of times in large companies, you just never read the fine print on the rules and regulations. The reason why they end up in the pickles is because some people feel like it's unfair to be charged something for a service they did not receive. But are they telling the whole story about the whole matter? Every company should, regardless if you're an entrepreneur, start out early, or you've been in business, should set some rules and guidelines. And please always verify with your state, local, and federal laws to see if you're in compliance to making any type of rules in your business, because your location, the state matters when it comes to business, no matter how small or how large it is. But what really goes on? What is the really root cause, the reason these businesses are placing those type of signs up, or it may be on the receipt, or it may be on the door, or it may be in a contract that the customer actually signed and tried to get out of. A lot of times, business get burned and they never tell you the upside. That customer never tells you the upside and downside of what they did, the reason they did. They get to shopping, and sometimes they have shop. When I say shopping, meaning that they may want to go to a trending place, but then someone else that may be in another like business, the same business, convince them to sway other way. They have booked this appointment with this established business. This business have rules and guidelines on how they service. They may be appointment-based business. Appointment-based business is regulated around the owner's time and dedication. And usually they book accordingly. So if someone changes their mind, it make it an inconvenience because they were depending on that income. They don't have a walk-in as your basis. Every business does not allow walk-ins. And it may be because of the size, or it may be because the time frame of the service. They want to dedicate their time on a one-on-one with you and the person that's servicing you, or the business and client relationship. Whatever the case may be, or the owner may just, or the worker, because it could just be an independent contractor. That's just their way they do business. And that's what's convenient and makes them feel in line in what they're doing. They have a list, or order on way they do things, the guidelines. But you always get those type of customers that wants to challenge those rules of a small, medium, or large size business. That's to make a difference. You see more time them challenging a small business or entrepreneur more so than they would a large company. The large company have those same rules. They'll go purchase the item in a large corporation and clearly say, once you purchase this item, there is no refund, final sale. That's no different in you book an appointment. You book appointment, and it clearly say there's a fee. No matter what that fee is, they tell you they disclose it in the beginning. In fine print, on a contract, some companies do contracts. A client contract, agreement, a sales agreement contract. And the reason that has been because Time and time again, when it comes to credit card purchases and check purchase, it's so easy for a client to say that they didn't even book the appointment. They use a lot of dishonesty with the banking institution. And a lot of times, the banking institution favor them even when their clients are in the wrong, unfortunately. And so an owner have to protect themselves with contracts. They have to make some type of rules, guidelines. They have to post it. They have to let the client be on notice on why they have these particular signs up. But honestly, some people will say it's unfair if it's a hairstylist or a tattoo, a body piercing, or esthetician, massage, nail tech to say, small business like that people have a problem with being charged a no-show fee. When clearly that these entrepreneurs and business owners have set aside their time and schedule to service them, and that client made a promise to be there. Now, we understand that on certain circumstances things can happen, but we're talking about clients that just choose to not to show up, whether they chose another person or not. The rules say there's a fee for rebooking. The client actually read it. Some people say, well, it's against the law. Well, not necessarily so. It depends on what state you're in. Depends on the state laws. That's just reality. It should be a rule where you do not show up and you promise to be at a location to get service, that you should pay for that inconvenience of that person missing a spot that they was depending on paying their bills. See, a lot of times people don't look at it as that this is an entrepreneur. They're just earning money. But it costs to be in the space that they're in. It costs their light, water, gas, electric. You say, oh, well, that's not my problem. Where you're wanting to be serviced, I don't care how large or how big, that cost of expense, supplies is in place. You're paying your patronage, your service, whether you show up or don't, should be accounted for. That's just my opinion. Do not book something that you do not plan having any intentions. And the unfortunate things, you have those that they don't want to consider themselves, but they are scammers. They book appointments. They know their intentions was never to be serviced there. You do have people that go around and try to find a way to file a lawsuit. They'll get a whole complete service and deny that they even got the service there. That's why contracts is a must. That's why you should always write up some type of contract for your client and yourself in your business to avoid the hiccups. So when you see businesses that have these hiccups of incidents and they put these rules in place, it's because they have had a large number of scammers that refuse to pay their services. They refuse to show up where they could have booked someone else in that spot. But how, you as a client, how dare you charge me the cost for me not being here? Oh, $50 is too much, $100 too much, $25 is too much. But yet and still, some doctor's offices, some clinics, some businesses, large corporation automatically charge you that and you accept it gracefully. But forbid a small business asking for it, you would quickly say, it's against the law. It's only against the law to the states that it applied for, but it's not. It's no law against putting in place to protect your business. When a client books an appointment and you put in place on their saying, if you do not show, there's a $25 fee. This is just an example. If it's already documented on their website, on their contracts, they're telling you up front, verbally, on their doors, windows, wherever it is, there's a $25 late fee. little clearly, I'm going to give you a scenario skit. A random person versus a expertise. When I say expertise, you want to always go to a legal website like a law firm that may ask questions concerning any particular laws. Don't assume that you know the laws, because each state in each city have their own rules and regulations. And when it becomes an entrepreneur, a business owner, whether if it's an LLC, a corporation, they have a right to set guidelines. As long as they're within the guidelines, most of the time it's illegal if they're operating legally and lawfully. This is a customer. No-show cancellation policy. Can they cancel or reschedule up to 24 hours before the appointment? And my gosh, it's a tattoo shop, it's a beauty shop, it's a spa, a barber shop, nail shop, esthetician, a stylist, etc. They're not even a doctor's office. They're not even an airline. They're not even a department store. They're not even a major corporation. They're just a small business. Or they're just individually owned. But if they fail to do this, they are charged the full amount. And they reference they can cancel or reschedule up to 24 hours before the appointment. That's what it says. That's what it says on their website. That's what it says on their door. That's what it says on their letter or their client and customer records. The expert responds. And it disclosed before the appointment. Customer replies, by the way, this is Texas and Tennessee. Please. The expert replies, neither state limits the no-show policy as long as it is disclosed. DISCLOSED. Customer. It is disclosed online before they even book. They cannot book unless they agree to the policies. It will not allow them to book and go any further on their website, on their apps, even on their forms. They just refuse. Even when I walked in, they refused to even service me until I completed that document. Expert says, then it's legal. No question in if, ends, and buts. It's legal. And that's that skit of that scenario. It doesn't make a difference what type of business it is. On time, it does not. There's an issue if the business is not operating legally, and they're operating illegally, or they're not compliant with the city or state laws. And most examples, like a hairstylist in some states, may not require any type of laws. They can still service. There's some type of business that some states where you can bake cookies in the house, but there's no laws as long as it's under a certain dollar amount. So they're in their right to place rules and regulations on their services that they provide for you, in no matter what type of business they're operating. And understand that what you downplay as not a doable business is considered a trade. And sometimes those trades are under a medical license. So just because you don't think it is important, it is very important to the state and city, because they have rules and regulations for those light type businesses. So it's not about what type of business or service that you're getting. It's about you're following the guidelines. So when you're going in business, it is great to have this. But this is just a great scenario of a skit that happens. And a lot of times, people don't understand. When they put this policy in here, something else has occurred on top of this other than the no-show. Sometimes it's not just the no-show. Sometimes it's the credit card, the debit card, the check issues with clients that's running schemes and scams sometimes. And so it impacts those that are honest, but sometimes the bad overweigh the good. And so you have to put guidelines in order, because if you have someone book an appointment that you don't know they have the criminal intent, and they try to bypass and not follow rules, and then they'll use a credit card that's not theirs and they'll they'll put it on there, and the business at risk, because they're not knowing that this person is committing fraud, but they booked an appointment online through their no refund policy. No cancellation. You get a fee. If you don't cancel in a timely manner, you have 24 hours. Most of them have 24 or either up to 72 hours. Long as it's disclosed up front. And that's why there's software programs that allows you to place it on your business website to prevent those hiccups. Some people don't want to pay the small costs. But if you don't want to pay the small costs, you need to make sure that you upload and put it on your website visible, let them know in advance. Even if there's a payment system, put it in their policy. On the payment system, there's a no refund policy. There's a no book. If you don't cancel in 24 hours, you have to put those policies in place to protect the business. So it is very important to protect your business and protect the client. Make sure you service your client. Don't be canceling appointments just to be canceling and saying that they didn't show. Give them a grace period. Most companies give them 15 minutes. It's no different than a no-brainer no-show policy. This is what brings about the no-show policy, even on your job. A customer will show you who they are when they're canceling by how they do at work. If they're more likely to cancel an appointment just doing service for themselves, they're more likely most of the time late for work or not showing up. That's why they make these implement laws on jobs. No shows, 3 days, you're fired. Some have extended. Sometimes they give you passes, but you late a lot, so you automatically terminated. That's why these things are implemented in businesses. It's no different than that. If a client has a problem with paying a no-show fee, you can pretty much understand their mindset of working. People that most likely understand business gets that time costs, services costs, whether you show or don't show. And so they get the understanding, the ones that value time and space and services. If they value it, they're going to do it in the everyday working life and understand there's policies put in place for a reason. So don't get bothered by what people will say, because you're always going to have the naysayers on social media to kind of convince you, oh, it's crazy because they're just a hairstylist or they're just a barber. Why would they charge this? You got to understand that you have different types of people in this world. Everyone in this world is not disagreeing with the policy. Only ones that's trying to get away by not paying. And I understand that there's circumstances that do occur that deem there are hardships. Sometimes there's emergencies, death, sickness. That we're not talking about that. Those incidents occur. And some businesses, they do accommodate for situations. That's why they're called rebook. We accommodate for another date, another time. That's the purpose of that. Root of it. Some establishments charges a 100% cancellation fee. If the client is a no-show, fails to cancel their appointment 24 hours before their booking. On other hand, some businesses opt out to just charge 50% fee for no-shows. It is also not a bad idea to charge cancellation fees on a case-by-case basis. Then you got the straight fee. Some people does the straight fee, used for no-show policies. Regardless if you miss or late certain number of minutes late for appointment, they are charged a fee. Fees usually are raised up on return when a client or patient or customer, whichever name you choose to call your client, they charge a small fee and it's added to their bill. This practice is common. And sometimes you get a refund depending on the type of business or the policy that's in place. Some people say if you rebook within a certain amount of time, then the fee, no show fee, no booking fee will be applied towards your next showing up towards your service. So you get refunded, that fee is applied to it. Some businesses do that practice. All businesses have their different rules and regulations that they set forth. But the thing is, charging no fee is a standard practice across most industries. We know it's common in the medical field. But the one thing that you need to understand that sometimes there are emergencies. So some businesses may make exceptions. If it's emergency or... Because these are the cons, emergencies and financial issues. Those do occur with clients. And sometimes business are compassionate. Some business owners are compassionate with it and they may make adjustments according. That depends on the longevity of your relationship with your clients. You may miss out on the client because you decided not to waive. That's going to be a judgment call on the business owner or the entrepreneur. Your own time and effort are financially compensated. You're not losing out on money you would have received from another client on a waiting list. That's not the issue. The issue is the importance of your value of your time. Your time and service cost money, no matter what type of business you're in. And I believe that's what the whole neck of people not understanding, that your time costs. Every second, every moment that you're not making money, you're losing it every time someone fails to show up or make accommodations or reschedule. Now, some of the things that you should have in place, you should have a letter, or you should be able to have multiple means of communication to your clients, whether they're new or old, reminding of your policies. A lot of times when you have issues with the legal system, it's because the business or the entrepreneur or independent contractor failed to display or let the clients know this is what your policies are. So even if they don't have a letter in place, they should have some type of form of communication, whether it's via text, via email, or signage inside their business, visible on the contract, on the client records. It should be posted and it should be signed and initialed by the clients. And letting them know the consequences of missing their appointments. On all forms, clients need to sign. There should be nothing missing. Usually this is what the common practice happens when a person don't fill out the form or sign, or they in disagreement. They probably inadvertently leave their signature off, won't check certain boxes. This has to be in compliance for those rules to work. They must sign, check off, X off, however your form is standardized, to let them know, hey, there is a no-show fee. And all SMS and email communications sent out to your client. Whichever one you prefer, the more the merrier. On signage displayed in reception or area of the office. By using multiple avenues of communication, the client is informed about implication of missing appointments. Sending SMS or emails in the 72 hours in advance, in 1 day before the scheduled appointment. No-show giving an offender a second chance may very well help out and may help a client relationship. It's not recommended, but it's a suggestion. You may want to, on your no-show, say, hey, first time offenders, we're going to wipe this off and give you a second chance. 1 missed appointment, 0 for the missed appointment. building a relationship, but making sure that they know. Using one of those type of forms of communication. Sending an SMS, an email. Some people have a 24-hour policy. 24 hours in advance to make any changes. Some may say on their website, they may have it in the emails, they may have posted on the door, they may have it in the application forms. They may verbally tell them on a consistent basis, this is the policy. But a policy has to be visible in those. It has to be on one of those type of forms to let the client know. Verbal is not going to work. Verbal is a plus to tell them, but it's not going to stand up. You have to have it in writing. You have to either send it via text, email. You have to either post it inside of your business, have it in their documents, have them signed off. There's small client and business relationship. Building a relationship. This is how I do business. This is my policies. No matter what type of business you have, to prevent the bloopers in life. Some people say, oh, that's not going to happen. It happens. If you've been in minimum 5 plus or more business, 10, you're seasoned. It's a reason why they have it in place, because they have had several incidents where it has occurred. So that's why those little rules, little regulations, little policies are in place. It's just about courtesy. It's courtesy. You can't ride some airlines, they have a no refund policy, and the policies that they do have in place, they have an insurance policy to protect you. So they do have no refund policy in different type of businesses. So even if you're dealing with a hairstylist, even if it's a single person, 2 people, large business, small business, that doesn't make a difference. Whatever policy they have a right to establish those policies to protect their business. It's a choice. And you got to remember, each state has different rules and different policies. So you want to check the rules and regulations. Texas, Tennessee, you tell a person in advance, you have it posted on your website, you have it in your paper, on your business wall, you letting them know, hey, you can reschedule, you can rebook. You have to let them know if you do not show up, there's a charge. 100% of the money is applied. Long as they're following the guidelines and putting you on notice, it is not against the law. But you also want to check each state. But I know in the state of Texas, that's business. Because if your intentions are right, you'll do the right thing for your business and your clients. I used to not wonder why the doctor would charge me, but now when you get to owning a business, you understand the concept. I was wondering, I kept on calling because something always come up. I have to call, and sometimes I call at the last minute. Sometimes I forget. Then I get this little $25 charge on my bill. But they had it in their policy. In the beginning, I just forgot. I signed that agreement. This happened more and more. But what happens is a lot of people will say, it's not fair, it's not right. They shouldn't charge me 100%. They shouldn't charge me 50%. Why shouldn't they? Their time costs. Service costs money. And you have to understand, some businesses are on appointment-based business. Everyone doesn't choose walk-ins. Sometimes there's businesses that do nothing but walk-ins, and they still hit with the same situations and scenario. There's no different than you going to a department store, and the department store had this big old sale. They always had a policy: 7 days, bring back. No returns. Can't get your money back. No different if they have a sale. All sales are final. So you paid $2,000 for a product that you got on sale. Then you just now seeing defective. That $2,000 you made agreement when you made the contract sale and you made that payment. But time and time, people would do this. They would go to their banks and they would say, I didn't purchase that my credit card, my debit card was stolen. That wasn't me. And they say someone else had my card. I didn't authorize it. There are always tricksters to get out. And usually what happens a lot of time if they're not an honest customer is because they always got some tricks up their sleeves. So that's why companies has put these in place. It's a difference in a person honestly missing an appointment, and if they honestly miss an appointment, they know that if they rebook that appointment fee is going to be waived because they're going to show up again. Most companies should, if they rebook the appointment, the fee should be waived. But I can't guarantee that on all companies because all companies have their own policy. But most business people are going to know that you show up. They're going to waive that fee or apply that fee to your next appointment. Or it may just be their policy. You were late, you didn't show up, you didn't call. That's just the fee because it was an inconvenience. It's a courtesy if they apply to another balance. It's not required. So a lot of people feel that some hairstylists does this practice and it's not fair. They charge me for the whole amount. They charge me $50. They charge me $25. It doesn't make a difference on what type of service you're receiving. It's a policy. It's a rule. It's a guideline that particular person, individual, whether they're individual contract, whether they're a business owner, corporation, LLC, doesn't make a difference. They have a right to place a policy. If you're honest, you're going to go on and either communicate in a timely manner or accept the consequences to your repercussion of a no-show. Now, most businesses do understand incidents do occur that you cannot avoid. Cannot avoid death, sickness. You cannot avoid incidents, emergencies. Financial issues does occur that you assume that you're going to have it. Some companies automatically have in the beginning that you pay in advance. That's going to be about a company based on the company business choices on how they handle it. Unfortunately, some will say, hey, we can rebook another day. And you just go in and get that service. Then there's others that they say, that is the policy. There's no refresh. There's no restart. There's no second chance. And that's just the way they do business. That's why you have to do your due diligence and choosing the right company, reading the fine prints. So even as a business owner, entrepreneur, whether you have an LLC, corporation, independent contractor, sole proprietor, doesn't make a difference how you describe your business. It is a smart and wise decision to prevent the hiccups. But just because the first 100 or 1,000 people come in don't give you that headache, doesn't mean that you won't get that headache. Because eventually you will get that headache with the no-show. And sometimes you get it in abundance. You never know when it may come. It may be several occurrences where it impacts you doing business. Your time's impacted, service impacted, cost and money matters in business, no matter what type of business it is. So when you're starting business, you want to already have this in place. Make sure you have it posted on your wall, legible enough, professional enough, said, as well as documented in their applications, their client records, their agreements, customer agreements, the contracts. Make sure you relay it to it via text, email, even in a letter. Even if you write a letter to them, letting them know in advance, putting it in front of their face, letting them know verbally to prevent the hiccups. It is to protect your business and as well as protect the client. That they made an agreement that they did not comply with. That they know the consequence of what happened. And also, it's just good business practice to prevent incidents from occurring. So hopefully this no-show policy that you do implement it, because one day you will have those situations. You can't assume that you won't, because being long as you're in business, you will come across that, depending on the type of service. And usually in personal service, you will run across those issues. When you're dealing with personal service, dealing with hair, body, you will run across that situation with no-shows. Those are personal services, and some type of policy need to be in place. Thank you for listening to my big BBBB Beginner's Business Bloopers episode on no-show.